Hi there, it's David John, the Resourceful Coach, and what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at sort of what I call a complete package to help you to go out and play to the best of your ability and also then analyse your round, but also get you physically in the right place. So we're going to call this sort of preparing yourself. We're going to go and play, we're going to analyse the round, and then we're going to recover. So a little bit today, we're looking a little bit more at your body, as important as being what you're doing with your golf and how you can move it forwards. So why have I created this video? Well, I start to look at more what tour players were doing. And when you look at tour players, it's not just now about hitting a golf ball. And I think that's how most of us go and play. These guys now are much fitter. They're prepared to go out and play. And part of their routine before they go and play is to make sure they've warmed up correctly, both their swing, but also their body before they go out. And if you go to a lot of tournaments, I mean, we just had the Open Championship in the last week or so, and what you tend to see there is a lot of these guys are turning up probably a good 2.5 hours before their round. And the first thing they'll do is they'll probably go and spend a little bit of time in the gym, but also now they have the ability to get a massage to really loosen those muscles up. And this is something we don't tend to do. I think a lot of golfers, to be honest, just jump out of the car, jump onto the first tee and away we go. So the whole idea to start with this video is prepare you. And we're going to look at two things. Okay. Now, what I came across about a few weeks ago, and if I'm honest, yeah, you watch these players and you think, is it really going to help? If I get my body in a better position before I go out, is that going to help? And the answer to that is 100% yes. And the biggest thing that I found, I would always go and hit a few balls, but the biggest thing I've just found in the last month or so is if I could get some sort of massage into my body, it made a massive difference. And especially for me, two areas. Okay, I've always had very tight calf muscles and hamstrings, and also I get very tight in my shoulders. Now, the problem is, if you are playing a game and you're physically standing there and your calves and hamstrings are very, very tight, the likelihood as you swing is you start to stand up. And for me, what that caused was two problems: a slight inconsistency in striking the ball, and also then the tendency I'd get a little bit too much from the inside, so that would push my ball out to the right. When they get tight as well, what also happened, combined with the tightness in my shoulders, it would start to tighten my back up. And that became a little bit of a problem, because if my back got tight, I wouldn't turn as well. So what I found around about a month ago, I came across a thing called the Bob and Brad massage gun. And this has made a massive difference to my game. This particular one is their pocket version. It's called the Q2 Pro. And it's brilliant, because all I do I only use it for about 10 minutes before I go out and play, is I'll spend about 2 or 3 minutes on those sort of areas. I generally spend the time on my shoulders and my calf muscles. And the difference it's made, the one shot it's got rid of in my game, is that slightly thin connection. And you think it can't really do that, but it does, because if your body now can respond, it's amazing how much you start to get the performance that you want. Now, this particular model comes with about 5 attachments, which you can use in different ways depending on what part of the body you're going to use. This is the one I use the most. It has like a ball on it. And what the system has is, if we just turn it on so you can get an idea what it's going to do, has this sort of massaging effect. And it has 5 levels. I tend to use level 3. So that's sort of the mid-range. It's quite intense. And all I'll do is, let's start with the shoulder. Okay. Now, normally you would do this skin onto it, but I'm not going to sort of subject you to my body. So I'm just going to show you. Just going to put it onto the area. And the key thing is get it onto that sort of muscly bit, the tissue, so you start to relax that tissue. And straight away, for me, what that does, it makes it so much better in my shoulder and then into my neck. And when I play, it feels like I can now swing so much better. Okay, so how long do I spend? About 2 to 3 minutes just on that area. I'm not going to do that. I'll bore you to death if I do that through the whole video. But I'll just let that go on there for 2 to 3 minutes. Once I've done that, move it onto the other shoulder, do the same thing. And you might hear the vibration on the microphone there. So you can feel that there. And again, get it onto the area. If you are a little bit knotted up on that particular day, get it on that area and really get it working. Okay. Now, the second area, as we said, is my calf muscles. So again, same thing. All I'm going to do, put it onto the calf muscle. Again, move it around just for that 2 to 3 minutes on each calf muscle. And I can't emphasize how much of a difference this has made to my game, because it was always something. Let's just turn this off. it was always something that when I played bothered me. Whenever I saw myself on the video, it would look like I would sort of, my body would lift up. And you just think, well, it's just bad technique, and you're working on trying to stay there. But actually, my body couldn't do it. Okay? I mean, it's one of those things, if somebody said to me, can you touch your toes? Well, I'm doing well to touch my knees. That's how tight my calves and my hamstrings can get. So with this, it just loosens it up a little bit. Okay? I'll do a few little stretches as well before I go out and play. And again, we're going to show you when I hit some balls in a minute how that will make a difference. But for me, it's amazing the difference this has made for me. And you can see on the screen now, we're giving you a link to have a look at it. There are different versions. This is the pocket version. It's brilliant because you can literally, I mean, the case is small. You can take it with you. You can have it in the car, have it at home. There are bigger versions. And there's a code there. If you do like the product, you can get a 10% off anything you buy from their website. But for me, preparing yourself is key. So if it's not the massage gun, but you do a few exercises to help the body, it's only going to help you. And as I said, I'm 53 years old now. Any help that I can get, brilliant. That's what I'm looking for. So we're gradually preparing ourselves. The next step, that's going to take about 10 minutes if we use that. We're then going to go to the practice ground, going to start to hit some balls, and we'll show you how we would use that to develop the swing ready for when we go onto the golf course later and play 6 holes. So our second part of preparation, we've used the massage gun. We've given ourselves a sort of a feeling there. The muscles are a bit looser. And just to help, especially for me, the calves are the key thing. I would just then use my club before I then start hitting balls. And I'll get into a position. And while I'm using the club, I see a lot of people who will sort of bend over and straight. And if you lose your balance, you can then tear your hamstring or your calf muscle. So always lean on something. There's a bench, even better. But I've got a club here. And all I'm going to do is just put one foot behind the other and just stretch that. And I can just feel that stretching a little bit more. And that's just helping me there. And again, just around about a minute or so on each. It's not that you've got to do loads, okay? Those stretching and the massage gun might take 10 to 15 minutes at the most. So now my body feels a lot better. Now I'm ready to go. Now what I want to do is feel the swing that's going to take me into those holes. And we're going to go and play 6 holes in a little while. So to start with, again, start low key when you're starting. So I've just got a wedge here. And all I would do, and again, I'm just going to do this a little bit quicker. So it just the idea gets there, but I'm not going to hit loads and loads of balls. But I'll start with some half swings with a wedge. Just literally there to there. And I'm just looking to pop it down the practice ground. Okay. And I'm not worried about the distance. People struggle, how far do you hit that? I'm not interested in that. I'm feeling the shot. I've hit that right out the middle of the club. Straight away, that's giving me confidence. Okay. And I'll hit probably around about 6 to 8 with that length of swing. Just feel the swing, get the contact. Again, it felt really nice. And then as I've done 6 or 8 of them, so imagine we've jumped forward a little bit. Now I'm going to take it up to a fuller swing. Okay, so still with the pitching wedge, still not looking for massive distance. And now I'm going to take that into a fuller swing. So it now starts to feel more the swing that I feel I'm going to play when I walk onto that first tee. There we go. And what we've added is around about 35 yards to the previous shot. And it's just feel. That's the key thing. Start to feel your swing. What's that swing when you play well? Okay. And we'd hit again half a dozen or so with that length of swing, just with a pitching wedge. Keep that rhythm. Get the feel of what we're doing. And the idea now is I want to complement the two things. The massage gun has helped me to loosen up. Now can I get the feel of the swing? So I've hit, let's say now I've hit about a dozen shots, half a dozen with a half swing, half a dozen with a full swing with the wedge. And now I've just moved a couple of clubs on. Just gone to an 8-iron and I do another half a dozen with this. But I want to feel, for me, the big thing for me is, can I feel the turn? That's the key thing for me. All right, that's my swing. Find what works for you. And you know that through my videos, that's what we're talking about. So from there, I'm just preparing myself to walk onto that first tee, be ready to go. But nice full swing, through. Yep, struck it nice. A little bit left, but I struck it lovely. And that's probably for me, again, the key thing I want to feel. I'm not worried if I'm not hitting it perfectly straight on the practice ground. But if it feels like I'm getting a nice solid contact on the ball, that's just giving me confidence. That's what I'm after. So as I said, I do half a dozen of these. Through, and that felt really nice. And it's giving me that feeling as I'm going through the shot. So now we're getting up there, a bit more where I'd expect to be hitting it, because now I've hit probably around about a dozen full shots as well as those half a dozen other shots. Now, if we had a little bit more time, I'd hit a few more shots, but we've got our tee time to get out on the course. And I would probably do a few 6-irons and then I'd move on to my hybrid. Okay, and again, I'd hit half a dozen of these to get us into that sort of consistency of what we're doing. Okay, so, but what I want to feel is that rhythm that I did with the 8-iron is just transferring into my hybrid. Everything now is loosening up. The body's good, it's turning. Gets the feel of what we're looking to achieve in the shot. And as I said, hit 6 of them. And if you've got time, hit maybe a few drives if the facility you've got allows you to do it. So now I've prepared myself 100%. The massage gun has got the muscles working. I've now got the feel of the swing. I've hit probably 2 to 3 dozen balls, feeling the contact on the ball. So now when I walk onto that first tee, I'm ready to go. It was always that one thing as a child I remember watching. I think it was one of the late 80s Opens, and Greg Norman birdied the first 6 holes. And I thought, wow, how did he do that? He's just jumped out of the car and birdied the first 6 holes. Well, now we know these guys didn't. They would prepare themselves. They would get their bodies ready. They would get their swings ready. When he walks onto that first tee, he's ready to go. And that's what I want you to do. So I'm now going to go and play 6 holes. Let's go and have a look at those 6 holes. When we finish those 6 holes, we're going to analyze the round using my data. And then we're going to sort of cool the body down at the end of it. But let's go and play those holes. So now we've loosened up, we're just going to go out and play 6 holes. We're going to play the first 6 holes here at Corinthians Golf Club. And we're going to go through sort of some data as we play, go through the shots, and then at the end of it, we'll analyze our data. So that's sort of the look of what we're going to do with these sort of 6 holes as we go through. So first hole here, 551 yard par 5. It's, for me as a scratch golfer, it's pretty much a par 5. It should be a hole. I should, on average, if I played it 10 times, I should par it pretty much every time. So that's the length of the hole. Everything about my data is about the length of the hole. Okay, it's probably the straightest hole here at Corinthians, straight up there, but it plays uphill. Probably plays closer to 600 yards, which is why the members find it a little bit tricky. But let's see what we can do. We're nicely loosened up. Let's go and play 6 holes. Well, struck that nicely, pretty straight. We've had a little bit of rain the last 2 or 3 days, so hopefully that'll hang on to the fairway. If not, it's just be in the light rough. But pretty good, be happy with that. Gives me a really good chance to get up on that green in 3 shots and give myself that opportunity to make that par. So really happy with that drive. I've just taken a measurement. I've got about 325 still to go. So that looks like I've only hit that 225 yards off the tee, which obviously I have. But as I said, it plays very much uphill, probably lost about 10% of my distance that way. And also there's quite a severe slope left to right. So what I always say to golfers on this, they always think, oh, I don't hit the ball very far off this tee. And they end up losing probably a good 15, 20% of that tee shot. So I'm not bothered by that. My 330 yards is still pretty much bang on what I would take 4 shots to get into the hole. So that's actually a par shot. So relative to this hole. So goal now, move that ball up the hole, see if we can advance it, get it again, round about at 180 to 200, move it up the hole. It's not quite as severe, the slope, the further we go up the hole. So I'll get a little bit more roll on this ball. Very light rough, ball a little bit below my feet. Biggest thing here, I don't want to dip. That's what people tend to do. I want to bend through my hip joint, maintain my posture, and just pivot around that position. Yep, up the middle left, quite happy with that. Yep. Should leave me probably about 120 into the green. I think, again, just gone into the light rough on the other side, but I'm okay with that because, as I said, because of the summer we've had so far, the rough is quite thin here at the moment, so shouldn't really affect my shot. But after 2 shots, we're pretty much where we should be. And again, that keeps me in that good mental position to be able to go and play the next shot. So this is where my second shot ended up on the par 5. We're in the light rough. I'm going to give you a couple of numbers here. Let's get a distance first, and I'm going to look at my data and just show you the difference if we do end up in the rough. So I've got 127 to go, okay? So if I was on the fairway, 127 is pretty much bang on. I should take 3 shots. If I was in the rough, it costs me about a third of a shot. It would take me about 3.3 shots. But as we said on the previous shot, because the conditions are so dry, I'm mentally going to think, well, I should still be able to get decent contact on this. It's not really thick rough. I'm going to play it more mentally as, yeah, I should be getting down in 3 from this position. But if the rough was thicker and I felt I might get an inconsistent contact, then I'd be thinking, okay, maybe in this situation, I may not get it as close as I'd like. So what would be a par shot from here? If we're looking at around about 120 to 130 yards out of the on a fairway, we're now looking around about, for me, somewhere around about 25 feet would be a good shot. So that's mentally what I'm thinking. I'm always thinking about playing the best possible shot. That's the key thing. Never standing over a shot and thinking, okay, I want to hit it 25 feet. I'd love to hit this in the hole. But realistically realize, yeah, on average, that's where I'm going to end up. So now I've got that sort of area, 25 feet or less, really, really happy. So looking at the flag, and that's the great thing with the viewfinder, it gives us the exact distance. I'm just going to play a nice smooth 9-iron up there from this distance. Okay, that should be the club to get me there. So again, we're just talking you through the shots. Greens are really receptive, so I know I can fly this pretty much all the way. They're pretty good, the greens here anyway, but we've had quite a bit of rain the last 3 days, so they really are good now. You can see the course from some of the previous videos that I've put out in the last few weeks. It's a lot greener all round. And that's just through 3 days of reasonable rain. Let's see what we can do. Well, struck it lovely. Let's hope that's the distance. Yeah, got a little bit of a kick down the bank. So ball hasn't appeared, which is good. If it appeared, it means it's gone right to the back of the green. So I'm looking at it, I'm hopefully within that 25 feet. Outside chance of getting my birdie, but if we stick to our process and routine, should get our par and move on to the next hole. But we'll have a look. We might be a bit closer than we think. So we've got to the green, and as you can see, as we look sort of back, we have gone towards the back. Just couldn't see that. There's a bit of a ridge at the front. Let's see what we got. 25 feet is our number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're 11 paces, so we're just airing on 30 feet. Okay, we're getting to sort of towards that area. Okay, and it's key. We're out here quite early in the morning. That's probably why you can hear a few greenkeepers and that moving around. And what we're sort of getting a little bit, you can see the dampness of the green. Again, that dew overnight. So something to take into consideration when you're looking at the speed of the putt. Okay, depends what time of day you play. So at this time of day, might get a bit of dew on the greens. Greenkeeper, even though he's come out and cut the greens, that sort of dew has come back a little bit. He's here very early in the morning, sort of looking after the course. This green here, again, go through my green reading method. Sort of trying to feel. We know it's around about 11 paces. I could feel first half, not a lot going on. And then as it runs down the green, it starts to feel like, yeah, it's pushing me down the hill. Pushing me probably to here. So the low point is here. There's not a lot of break on this. But what there is it's about getting the speed right, okay? So if the low point here is 6 o'clock, I'm probably coming at the most 11 o'clock, I would say, where I'm positioned. 11 paces, it's an average slope. So that's what we call a 2% slope. So 60% of 2 times 11, so 2 times 11 is 22. 60% of that is around about 13. So what we're looking at now is a situation where I'm going to aim about, roughly about a foot left of the hole. Okay, and now it's all about speed. If that doesn't break that amount, or a little bit more or less, but I get the speed right, we're all good. As I said, on that tee box, 550 yards. If you said to me you're going to make a 5, that's on average what I do. So now it's trusting that line, committing to that line, foot left of the hole as I look at it, roll it down the hill. Oh, that's broke a lot more at the start. It's finished where I said the low point was going to end up getting that way, but it did a lot more here. Didn't see that. That's my error, but because I got the speed right, look what happened. I've ended up decent position, got my tap in. So although it wasn't a great putt, because I had the right idea, I was confident in what I was doing, that gave me the belief to get the speed right. I got that right, ended up about 20 inches away. I've got my par. Let's go to play the par 3 second. So I've come to the second hole. It's a 146 yard par 3. I've taken a measurement, again with the rangefinder. So I use the rangefinder because this flag is right at the back. And the one that I use has a slope rating, so it can pick up whether it's uphill or downhill. And that's great for practicing. Especially if you play somewhere regular, you can start to learn how much difference that is. Now, although it says it's 146, to that flag today, it's 151, but we lose about 10 yards because we're going slightly downhill. So that tends to be the case here. So any Corinthian members, you play this hole, plays about 10 yards less than what you think it is because of that effect of going down the hill. So I've got about 141, 142 yards. This is a hole, just again go through the data, that we are looking at approximately a 3.1 hole, which basically means I'm going to par it 90% time, but I'm going to bogey it 10% time. Even as a professional golfer, as a scratch golfer, that's what the data suggests. We'll show you on the next hole where it's quite a short par 4, it sort of works a little bit the other way, okay, and it starts to level itself out. So the length of the hole is the key thing, because for me, what's in your way, unless you are unable to get over it, really doesn't matter, because if you can hit the ball correctly, it will get over the trouble. Okay, and the importance of this hole is we want to land it on the green. And as we said on the first, now the greens are receptive, really good, we can do that. I've got an 8-iron. I'm going to fly this as much as I can, middle of the green. That's the sensible play, because the flag is at the back. I don't want to really attack that flag. If I go too far, I'm going to be off the green. Okay, so nice smooth 8-iron, should be centre of the green. Again, around about that 25, 30 feet, good shot. Well, it's on line to the middle of the green. There's a big tree behind the green. I always aim at that. I'm pretty much on it. And I'd say I'm pretty much bang on that 30 feet looking at that result. So at the moment, tee to green, we're playing pretty much our level. That's okay. I'd like to get a bit closer, might take a little bit of pressure off the putting, but we're still in our area. We're still doing okay. Let's go and have a look at the putt. So here's where our tee shot ended up. We'll pace it out in a minute. Just going to repair, make sure you guys do this. Make a pitch mark, go and repair it. Look after your golf course. Nothing worse than an old pitch mark on your line and the ball doesn't run smoothly. Okay, we'll mark the ball. Again, I'm going to go through my complete green reading method. So I always mark the ball and I make my way to the hole. And what I'm looking for now is where's the low point. And I'm using my feet to do two things. Sense what the slope is doing and counting out my paces. You know how important that is to me. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If I can feel it's really dropping downhill. 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15. And it feels like it's leveling out here. We're 16 paces away. So we said about 30 feet. 16 paces is around about, let's get my brain working, about 40 feet. So we're a little bit further away, but we're about 0.1 of our shot. This is about 3.2 hole now we've put ourselves in. So still 80% chance we're going to two-putt this. I'm now looking at where the water would run. Feels like it should run here. So again, not a lot of break. A little bit like the first hole, probably coming from around about 11 o'clock. It's probably slightly bigger than average. I'd say this is a 3% slope for the first half. Excuse me. And then 2% for the second half. It didn't feel as severe as I got closer to the hole. So we're looking at about 2.5 slope. That's the important thing to understand. So we had 16 paces times 2.5. This gets the brain working. So 32, we're looking around about 40. Okay, but we're now coming from 11 o'clock. So again, we're looking around about 24, 60% of our 40. That's what we're looking at. Again, if you don't understand that, please go and watch my green reading video. It will go through that. I'll show you the little grid towards the end of the video. Okay, so again, it's trusting that line, about 2 foot of break from the left. But it's all about pace when you're getting it from this distance. Anything like the last putt on the previous hole, we can get inside 2 feet. Be very happy with that. But the key thing is, because I like working on the line, and then trust that, I then can just focus on the pace. So a couple of feet left. Rolling down nicely. If it finishes, we've got a chance to hold this. No, just going to stay out there. But really happy with that. We're within a couple of hole widths of the hole. We get out of here with our par. And it's interesting, like that, I was a little bit more convinced the line on that one compared to the first, and I made a much better stroke. So that's the importance. That's my big belief. That's why green reading is so important. So got a 2 pars. We're about 0.1 shot ahead at the moment. We're going to go and play the third, which is one of my favourite holes here. We play over a pond, and we'll see what we can do on that hole. So we've come to the third. It's a 326-yard par 4. We are looking at my level. It's a 3.9 hole. Okay, it's a par 4, but on average, I should par this 90% time, and I should birdie it 10% of the time. All of my data is relative to the distance. Okay, so what would be a par shot off the tee? Well, again, I'd look to be around about that 100 to 120 yards from the green. That would be my par shot. But the hole plays a little bit tricky in that. We've got a bit of a dog leg here. We go up and then we drop down the hill behind the second tee and behind the first green. So it's one of those holes where probably your tee shot, you might just lose a little bit, even if you hit a good one. But then if you're a decent player at my level as a scratch golfer, the likelihood is you'll probably gain a little bit on the second shot and get back. But the goal would be if I could be around about 20 feet after 2 shots. So that's sort of my mental picture, what I'm thinking. So that's the sort of goal I'm setting myself. Can I hit 2 shots that will get me 20 feet away? And also what I've done in those first 2 holes is I've had a 30-footer and a 40-footer and I've 2-putted both. So mentally, even if I end up around that 30 feet mark, I think, well, I'm going to 2-putt it because I'm putting nicely already today. I've got the speed of the greens doing really well. So you can see how, again, I'm using the data for me to take the pressure off. Okay, but we're hitting the ball nicely. We've got a marker post up there. We're going to aim at that. I've just got my forward here and I'm just looking to hit on that. Let my natural shape, which is that little draw, just bring me round the corner. Get it perfect. We might get around that 100, 120 yards. I'm expecting to probably be about 130, 135. Okay, well, slightly pulled that. This could be interesting. Right, well, it bounced through. This is either going to be amazing and I'm probably going to be 80 yards from the green or I'm stuck behind a tree. Okay, so we all do it. We all hit those shots. Let's hope we get lucky. I think last week where the ground was rock hard, I think we would have been 80 yards from the green. Today, I think those trees might be playing a problem today. But let's go and have a look. Let's see what we can do. So I've got to my tee shot and we've sort of got a little bit lucky in one way and a little bit unlucky in another, but it wasn't a great shot. So I got a little bit what I deserved, okay? So where I'm standing, I've got a complete full swing. I've got no issues with my swing. The trees here are behind me. It's not a problem, but what you can see on the camera, I've got this tree right in front of me. It's not a bad lie in the rough, okay? But let's get some distances. Let's get some idea of what we've got and let's talk you through what I'm going to do. So we have got, I'm going around the side of the tree, I'm still level with it. We've got 135 to that flag. Flag is right at the back. Now what I'm also going to pay attention to here is how much is it to carry the water. So what would it be to land on the front edge of the green? Around about 108. Okay, so I'm looking at a number 110 to 135. That's what I'm looking at. Now this is all about your skill level. This is all about what you know you can do with your shots. Okay, so we start to look at those numbers and I'm thinking, right, if I can get a nice solid 9-iron to that, that should carry the water and put me middle of the green. And if I can get there, remember what we said on the tee, anything around about 20 to 30 feet would be a good shot. If somebody put me 30 feet from the hole now and said that you can play your next shot from there, I'd run to that shot. I'll be there in a heartbeat, okay? So the important thing to understand is sometimes you just got to sort of look at it and work out what you got to do. I think I've got the skills to get the ball up quick enough to get over that tree. Okay, if you haven't, you got to take your medicine. Okay, and what I mean by that is just think, put it down just short of the water and then pitch it on from there and give yourself a shot from there. And sort of mentally think 5's okay. And what you see, we've just had the Open Championship and you look at Scotty Scheffler winning that tournament. And I think going into the last round, he'd had 3 bogeys and he had no bogeys at all on the Saturday. And he made a double bogey because he tried to be a little bit sort of greedy, let's say, out of the bunker, the fairway bunker. So he only had 4 holes where he dropped shots. So all in all, he only dropped 5 shots, a double bogey and 3 bogeys over 72 holes. And that's amazing. And that was because he managed his game. The amount of times he would be in a little bit of trouble, he put it in a position where he felt he could get the ball up and down. So it's play your game, okay? As I said, I believe I can get this over the tree. And again, where I'm going relative to that, I can play towards the right edge of the green and I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to play a 9-iron. Think of the 9-iron I hit on the first, which was really nice. Trust myself. Okay, and again, if I hit it correctly, I know I'll get over that tree. That's not an issue. And that's what I said. It's just developing your skills to know what you can do. Off this lie, if I probably could go right of the tree and just let the actual slope create my little draw back. So that's a little bit what I'm going to do here. I've got a pine cone there. Let's just get rid of that up from underneath my foot. So that's actually what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to trust myself, say, there's your shape. Aim at the right edge. If it stays there, you're 30 feet away. If you get the shape, it'll bring you back to where you want to be. trust your swing. Yeah, exactly what I did. So I took a little bit of that tree out, and yeah, we're pin high, probably about an inch or two off the green looking at it from here, but I'd say I'm within 20 feet of the hole. So it's that importance of knowing what you can and can't do. Don't be greedy. One of my previous videos talked about, yeah, that 50-50 shot. If it's a 50% chance you think I can't do it, don't take it on. I'd want to be 75%, to be honest. Think that way. Okay, on this occasion I got lucky. Okay, other days I may not be so lucky. Let's go and have a look at the putt. Let's see if we can get out of here with a putt. I'll take that after that tee shot. So here's where we ended up. Very happy with that. And again, hopefully the biggest thing I want you to see as I'm playing these 6 holes, so I stick to a routine. I don't change what I'm doing, okay? And that's why I think I get that consistency. I'm not chopping and changing the idea. So as I arrive at the green, we get back into our green reading method. I'm about 6 inches off the green, so I'm not going to read anything into that. Let's pace it out. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're looking around about that 25 to 30 feet. Remember what we said, we'll take that, okay? Walking up here, I can feel it was all uphill. So again, I'm picking up that information. I can sense the sort of water would flow down this way. So if 6 o'clock is here, as I look at it, that's what I would feel. If I filled that hole, it would run there. I'm now coming probably not even from 5 o'clock, okay? But it's a steep slope, and we were 11 paces, so that's 33. I'm probably looking about 30% of that 33. So we're looking about 10 inches of break from outside the hole. So we're looking to get out here by a good 2.5 hole widths. But again, we're at that distance where pace is everything, okay? Because I'm literally only 6 inches off the green, I'm not going to read anything into that. I'm just going to play my shot. I'm going to trust it. Now, it's quite interesting because I get here, and because of what I saw up there, remember what we said on the last hole, I feel there's a much bigger shoulder here for the first third. So I'm going to read this as 2 putts. I'm going to read the first third. I think that's a 4% slope. Okay. And I think the 6 o'clock's running down here off that slope. Okay. So if we're looking at about 4 paces, a 4%, that's 16, and it's maximum of that. I'm going to have 16 inches of break, I believe, there, if I was just putting to a hole here. And then now we're looking around about 7 paces, and we said it was from 11 paces, it was about 10 inches of break. So we're looking at about 2/3 of that. So I've got 16, and I'm going to add about another 6 or 7. So I'm now going out to 22 inches. That might sound a little bit complicated, but this is my brain working and working out how the data works. So let's see if I've overread it now with that, but I'm now going to aim nearly 2 feet out there. That's what I believe. It's all uphill. The low point's definitely down here. And now it's about get that speed right. Again, I'll take 2 putts, move to the next hole. Not hitting the ball badly, just not getting as close as I like. Yeah, way out there. You can see that ridge did do it. I just needed to hit it. That was dead on line. Okay, we'll leave the flag in. So we're inside a putter's length, so needed a little bit more energy. Should just drop in from the right lip now. Nice positive putt. Yeah. So after 3 holes, we're pretty much where we should be. We would sort of gain 0.1 of a shot there. We've made our par, so we've lost 0.1. We should have lost 0.1 on the previous hole. We gained it, and we should have parred the first. So through those first 3 holes for me, I should be level par. I am. It's interesting now as we play the next 3, where we're slightly playing longer par 4s, it starts to show, even at my level, I'm going to start making some bogeys. But let's go play the 4th hole. So we've got to the 4th. It's a 360-yard par 4, and this is a 4.1 hole. So again, looking at my data, still 90% chance I'm going to par it, but a 10% chance I'm going to bogey the hole. So as soon as we go over about that 340, 350, even as a scratch golfer, you're going to start to bogey holes, okay? And you'll see when we play 5 and 6, in a little while where they're a lot longer, that amount is going to go up, okay? So again, mentally, what am I looking for? Well, this is a dog leg that goes up, 10 o'clock dog leg. I want to be middle to right side, and ideally a par shot would be around about 130 to go into the green. That would be a really good shot, okay? So we're looking for a 230 tee shot. Hit it any further than that, we're probably going to run out of fairway. So I've got my fairway wood. Again, what's interesting here is that I didn't hit a particularly good shot with this on the last hole, But what do I mentally do? I don't take that baggage into this shot. What I do is remember all the really good ones I've hit with this club, because this is one of my favourite clubs. So a little bit more of a shock to the system that I hit that shot. So what we're looking at now is just to say, but just trust yourself, commit to it, pick your spot. So I'm aiming middle right and just let my shape bring me back. And just make a better swing, better rhythm. Let's see what we get. Yeah, straight down the line I want to be. So again, because I didn't worry about what I'd done before, we've executed that. It's landed where I wanted to land it. It's all down now to the bounce. Let's go and have a look at it, giving ourselves a really good chance of getting the next one on the green with a sort of mid to short iron. So the tee shot was good. We found the fairway nicely. Again, we mentioned it on the first, had quite a bit of rain last 3 days. Seems to have not run out as I would have liked. I'm sort of around the 150 markers here, so I'm a little bit short, and the flag is right at the back. So let's just take a little bit of time, because that's picking up the stuff behind. So I know it's going to be probably about 165. Yeah, it is 166. Playing a little bit uphill, so it's about 168. So that's a little bit more than I want. Let's look at the data. So far my tee shots, if we look at it, and I've only counted 1, 3 and 4, just so you understand how my tee shots are going today. First hole, pretty much bang on par, so I didn't lose or gain anything. Second hole, because I went in the rough and I was stuck behind the tree slightly, I lost about 0.4 of a shot. And to be this distance away, we said it's a 4.1 hole. I'm now pretty much in a 3.2, so I've lost another 0.1. So we're about half a shot down on my driving. Doesn't feel bad at the moment. It's not great. So it shows my approach shots as just probably a little bit ahead of the game, which is good, and my putting's good, okay? So I haven't had to do any real short game, anything under 100 yards yet, because we're getting on or around the greens. So that's just giving you a little bit idea with the data what we're doing. So 165, again, everything just seems to be, it's a lovely morning, but it just seems to be a bit heavy. So that should be, for me, a smooth 6 iron. But I'm actually going to hit a 5 iron. I just don't think it's flying today. Okay, let's grab the 5 iron. And again, we know the flag is towards the back, and knowing where that flag is, I've still got probably another 5 to 10 yards of green behind it. So I've still got probably 20 feet of green behind. Flag is cut right on the left side. We'll probably highlight that a little bit for you. So just down the line of these trees, you can see on the left. So the play is really middle right of the green. You know what my shape is, a little bit of draw. That should bring me back to the flag. So it actually suits my eye, this shot. It's just mentally, again, you can be looking at it and thinking, well, I should be hitting an 8 iron in here and I'm hitting a 5 iron. But that's okay, because just make a good swing with a 5 iron. Well, we're online, got that little bit of draw that we wanted, all on the bounce now. Go on, run up the green. Well, amazing. Furthest we've been away. Probably didn't feel the best strikes of the day, but I bet that's the closest to the hole out of the 4 holes we've played so far. Okay, let's get my divot. Don't like leaving divots. See that too much nowadays. Again, if you are new to golf and you found my channel, please replace these divots. Look after the golf course. Make sure when you go in the bunkers, rate the bunkers and repair those pitch marks. It's your job. It's not the greenkeeper's job to look after the golf course. He will do as good a job as he can, but as golfers, we've got to look after it just as much as him. Let's go and see if that's ended up as good as it looked, hopefully inside 20 feet, which will have gained us a little bit after that tee shot. So really happy with that shot. We've ended up on the green. Let's just pace it out and give you an idea what we've got, and then just give you some of the data. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paces. Okay, so we're now 15 feet away. So 15 feet for me, get my brain working, should be under an average of 2 putts from that position. Should be about 1.8, 1.9, but let's just double check that so we're giving you the right data. So 15 feet, yeah, 1.85, okay. And where we were on the fairway, because we didn't hit the best tee shot, we were around about that 165, we were averaging about 3.2. So we lost 0.1 off the tee, but now we've gained nearly a third of a shot. So this has put us slightly ahead of the game. From back there was a 20% chance I was probably going to bogey the hole. Now there's a 15% chance I'm going to birdie it. Okay, so you can see how a good shot can change that. So let's really go to school on this putt. Done this from a different angle, so you can sort of see the length of the stroke and what we're doing. Now, what was interesting, I walked towards my ball, it felt a long way downhill. So It's always a pin position that catches me out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to leave the flag in. Okay, but I think it's pretty flat here. So this is more about the fact that it's just the fact it's uphill. Okay, go through my routine, mark my ball, clean my ball, and again, where the greens are a little bit dewy, just get rid of any of that water off the ball. Couldn't do it on the last because we were off the edge of the green, but all the other greens you've seen me do it. So I'm actually reading this pretty much as just a straight uphill putt. I don't see a lot going on, okay? And because now I've read that way, even though it's only a 15-foot putt, it's just that psychological thing now of realising, well, it's uphill, let your instincts make the change on the power. So I've obviously got to put a little bit more energy into the ball to get it there. But straight uphill, nice and positive. Let's see if we can get out of here with a birdie and gain nearly 0.9 of a shot on our putting. Oh, I've hit it dead on line, haven't hit it. Now, what was interesting there is that ball was rolling along. I could see all the water running off the ball. So the green, again, so wet. So again, probably have that putt at 2 o'clock this afternoon if we get no rain, and that would have been in the hole. So again, just another factor I didn't quite take into consideration, that dew, how much it held the ball up. Did everything I wanted. And again, it felt like I'd hit it firm enough, but that little bit of water just stopped me that cup in front of the hole. But we got a 4. We gained a little bit. We're ahead of the game. We've made 4 pars. No real sort of serious pressure at the moment because we're getting on the greens or around the greens. Let's go play the 5th hole, which is stroke index 1. It's the hardest hole on the golf course. So here's our 5th hole. It's 426-yard hole. We're looking at a 4.3 hole. So this is a hole, literally a third of the time, even as a professional golfer, scratch golfer, I'm going to bogey this, okay, a third of the time. It's one of those holes, it's a little bit of a strange hole really, because you can't take a driver because you've got sort of literally a right angle dog leg. So it's literally 210 yards there, 210 yards there. And unless you can get a little bit of draw and where we've had the ground being quite firm, you might be able to get it running down the hole. You're still at best probably going to have, I mean, if you hit the perfect shot, you'd still have 160 yards into the green. So it's very much about getting the ball in play off this tee. Okay, we've used this before in one of my previous videos, which I call, if I started golf again now, this is the tee shot I'd go and practice because it's so tight and it teaches you to hit the ball straight. So that was the reason behind that video. Go and watch it, have a look at it and see what you think. Now, for me, I just need to get it roughly that 200 yards. I know it's about 180 to get out of the trees. It's about 225, 230. So this is my hybrid. If I hit my fairway, wouldn't get it right, I could run out of fairway, okay? So again, just trusting what I know, picking my line, allowing my little draw to just do what it's going to do, commit to the shot. So last tee shot was lovely. Let's see if we can get that rhythm into my hybrid, see what we get. Yeah, started down the right of centre, little draw, brought me back to the middle. Again, because of the weather we've had, it's not going to run round the corner or anything like that. So it's going to be a long second shot down into the green. But that's okay, because remember, as long as I can get that ball, let's see, what am I looking? 2.3 would be my shot after 2 shots. Then I'm looking at around about being 60 feet from the hole. If I'm 60 foot away after 2 shots, I'm pretty much doing what I'm meant to do. Let's go and have a look at that second shot. So let's have a look at the distance we've left ourselves. I think we're going to have around about 200. And again, we're taking into account what we've got. Right, flag's right at the back. So it's actually 228, but because we're playing down quite a sort of valley here, it drops down to about 205. So this is pretty much, my tee shot was what I call a maintainer. It's a par shot. I'm still on average going to take 3.3 from here. So 60 feet or better is good. Okay, that's what we're looking for. I'm still going to go in my hybrid because it has had so much rain. I can fly this all the way now. Whereas half a dozen days ago, I'd be landing this short and letting it run up. So nice swing. I'm on a bit of a downslope, so just go through a little bit of technique. I want to keep my weight more on my left side, swing down the slope, and trust my angles through that slope. That's the key thing. Nice smooth rhythm. Anything down near the green, as we said, 60 feet. So around the edge of the green's a good shot. Keep the weight left side, finish on the left. Well, nailed that. Let's see what we get. All depends on the first bounce. If it gets a good bounce, should be good. Go on, run. Just crept on to the front edge. We're probably around about 45 feet away from the hole. So probably just gained about 0.1 of a shot, but really happy with that shot. Let's go and see if we can get the 2 putts, get out of here with a par. Remember, that's a gain of nearly a third of a shot. So really happy with that second shot. Anytime I hit this green in 2, anytime I par this hole, I'm very, very happy. As I said, it's stroke index 1, hardest hole on the course. And for me, it's a hole I should bogey on average about a third of the time. So if I go through my year, I'd probably par this, as I said, 70% of the time. I'd probably birdie it maybe once or twice, and then the rest would be bogeys, and then the odd double bogey, which happens. Everybody gets that. So let's read the putt again. Process, so important to me, and I can feel the water would be running down here. Okay, this is my 6 o'clock position. So I'm putting pretty much from the maximum break. Okay, I think that's the important thing to understand. I'm going to take it as an average slope. I think it's slightly more than average, but why I'm going to go to average, which is a 2% slope, is because of that dew on the green. As the green's getting slow, it'll break less. That's the important thing to understand. So let's see how many paces we got. We've got sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we're similar to what we had on the, let's get my brain working, the second hole. So 16 paces, we're looking around about 40 feet. Okay, and that's okay. Remember, 60 feet was the number. So with that last shot has gained us about 0.2 of a shot. If we can 2-putt this, and we'll show you this at the end of the data, if I can keep these 2 putts from this distance, my putting today is really good. Even though I might have 2 putts on every hole, because I'm putting from 25 feet and above, I'm gaining shots in my putting. So let's go through that. 16 paces, we're looking around about a 2% slope. So that's 32. We're looking around about 2.5 feet outside the left hole, about 30 inches outside the left hole. That's what we're looking for. So let's get my brain working where that is. Focus on that. Commit to that line. Again, I'll take 2 putts from here every day of the week. Be a little bit firmer just because of that dew. I can actually see it more on this green. I've got the line right. Oh, hang on. And again, you can see because the brain suddenly said, look, I've got to be a little bit firmer with it. What have I done? I've raced it 3 feet past. Okay, but it had a chance, could have gone in. Okay, let's take a little bit of time on this. We look at that. Okay, so again, low points over here. Should be a nice firm putt just on the right side. Nice and positive, knock it in. Good. Okay, so we got our 2 putts. We've done what we wanted to do. We've gained 0.3 of a shot. We're now 0.4 of a shot ahead. Next hole's another 400-yard plus par 4. So if we can par that for our little 6-hole challenge, we'll have gained well over half a shot for my level. That's what we're going to show you when we analyse the data later. All right, let's go play our last hole. So the 6th hole here at Corinthians is a 412-yard par 4, stroke index 7. So again, just giving you an idea of the difficulty of the holes. And again, it's another 4.3 hole. We're looking at a hole on average. I'm probably going to 30% time bogey this hole as a scratch golfer. The difference on this hole is I can get the driver out. The last hole I had to play it into position. Here we should be able to get it further down the hole, which rather than having played the last holes 2 hybrids, and it was only roughly 15 yards longer, we now can hit driver. And hopefully in this situation now, we should have a much shorter iron going into the green. Okay, as long as we execute the shot, that's the key thing. So go through my process again. If you've watched some of my videos, I always focus on that small target. There's my house in the distance from the video I do. It's one of my very early videos, okay, where I sort of said to you, look, make the target small to make the fairway big. So I'm aiming at the windows of that house. And again, just trust your routine. Trust what you're doing. Nice smooth swing. Remember that tee shot on the first, because that was a lovely swing. Really happy with that after I'd loosened up on the practice ground. We've kept it going. So let's see if we can keep that idea going. Well, again, I'm straight down the middle of the fairway. Really happy with that. Again, it just depends with the rain we've had, how far that's run down, but we should have something around about, say, a 7-iron into the green. So we're happy with that. We're doing okay. Let's see if we can get out of here with another par, make those 6 pars through these 6 holes. So really happy with that drive. We've got 156 left. Okay, so it's a little bit more distance than I was expecting. But what's interesting, I mean, we've started this round, and I'm looking at my watch now, and we've probably taken about just over an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes to video these 6 holes. I got out here really early to do that. But what's quite interesting is how much the wind has picked up. Okay, when we started it was dead calm. Now all of a sudden it feels quite a strong breeze. And that's just in, as I said, not even 2 hours into the round, and this is what's happened. So that affects what you're going to do. Don't look at those numbers and just think, oh, that's the number, I must hit it. Amazingly here, this should be a 7-iron for me because of how strong I feel that wind is getting and how well I hit the shot up the 4th. I'm actually going to hit a 5-iron here. Okay, we've got a little bit of water to play with. Flag is cut right on the very front, so I know I've got green behind it. So the importance is to sort of make sure I get there. That's the importance. Play towards the right edge. Just let the little draw bring me back. Nice smooth swing. Remember that 5-iron literally 2 holes ago. See if we can do it again. So we're on line, so whether or not I've got enough strike there. Yep, we're good. Okay, so it wasn't my perfect strike. I'm going to be honest, it was a little bit thin. There was a little bit of heart in the mouth there, thinking, oh my God, is it going to carry the water? It did, because the flag's on the front. It's now really good. So remember, we should have been, like the previous hole, around about 60 feet away, looking down there. I think we're about 15 feet away. So we've gained a lot through those first 2 shots. Let's see if for the first time today, can we really take advantage with the putting? But as we said on the previous screen, we're ahead of the game on putting. So this will be a real big gain if we can do it. So we've come to the 6th green. Let's get rid of the flag. Let's go through the green reading again, work out what we think is going to happen. And again, it's this process. I know you'll get bored with me saying it, but the key thing is if you get into this routine and process and it works, it's amazing how your game will go to the next level. Okay, I don't think as a junior golfer I really had a process. I just played. And then as I've gone on and taught more, you realise how important it is. And now I'm far more consistent, far better player now, hardly playing any golf than that junior who was off 1 handicap at 16 years of age, practicing every day, because again, I just hit balls and just hoped it was going to be a good result. Now it's about, yeah, what's the shot need to do? It's that process. So putting, find the low point. I mean, I think it's running towards the camera. I don't think this is going to do a lot. Okay, it's a funny green this because you normally will try and put the green in a position when you've got a pond where the water will run into the pond. But I actually think it runs more down away from the pond, okay, the way it's set up. Okay, if you can hear a little bit of the greenkeepers around us, I apologise for that. Okay, they're just busy doing their job, which is fine. Okay, so let's pace it out. I think it's going towards the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, key thing is, if I think it's going to the camera, it's a dead straight putt. So I don't really need to look at that too much. Just going to look at it a little bit closer. I think it's probably going to go to here. Okay, so I'm really looking at it on that side. It's probably a 3 slope, but I'm only 10% off 10% of what I'm going to do. 4, 5, 6, 7 paces, 21. We're only looking probably 2 inches outside the left lip. That's all I'm seeing. So this, again, all about speed. 7 paces, what are we, 17, 18 feet away? So we're way ahead of that game. That second shot has gained us a nice amount. Come on, David, let's see if we can hold a putt. I'll stay up. Wow, that broke a lot more than I thought. Okay, but look what I got, the speed right. And because I got the speed correct, we got that tap in. So it's an interesting one today because it didn't feel like I putted great, but when we analysed the stats, that's the area of the game I've probably picked up more shots than any other area of the game. And that's because of where I was leaving the balls on the green. Okay, so that's our second part. We've now played. We're now going to go and analyse the round and we're going to recover afterwards. So we're getting our body in a good position. So we're ready for whatever we want to do at the end of golf or hopefully for our next round next time. So we've finished the round. We've come to sort of a quiet area where we can now just sort of analyse the round and go through what's happened. And if you can remember, as we went through each hole, I sort of said at the start of the hole what was the average score I would make. And it could range from the first hole, which was exactly the par of the hole, or it could go to something like the 6th hole was an average of 4.3, which means on average I would bogey that 30% time, par at 70%. So if we took the par of the course, it was 24 for those 6 holes. But when we add up those baseline numbers, the starting point, on average, I would shoot 24.7. I know it sounds a little bit strange, but over rounds and rounds and rounds of golf, it would average out that way. So on average, I would be probably about 1 over par playing those 6 holes. So they're tough holes, even for me as a professional golfer. And then what I do is I start to look at each area individually. So I'd look at the tee shots. Now the tee shots will come into two compartments really. So tee shots where I'm using really your par fours and your par fives, and you're using a driver or a wood or a hybrid or a long iron to get it off the tee. And for me, that wasn't a good day. I mean, overall I've gained 0.7 of a shot, but actually on my driving I lost half a shot, and that was probably more down to that one tee shot on the third hole, okay, where I put it in the trees. I lost about 0.4 of a shot. So the other holes were about average. So it wasn't a bad day, it's just one bad shot there. Normally we have three other areas that we look at, and that's those shots outside of 100 yards, shots inside 100, and putting. But amazing today, I never had one shot where I actually had to play a pitch or a chip or a bunker shot inside 100 yards. So I've only got two more stats. And my shots outside 100 yards, I gained a complete shot. So that was my strength today. That was a good day. And that's interesting because if I'm honest, when I look at my data normally, that's normally my weaker part. So practiced a little bit, and now that was really good today, okay? And shots like I hit down the fifth where I was 200 yards away and put it on the green to 40 feet, we gained a little bit. Now my putting, I also made a slight gain, about 0.2 of a shot. And that was because all of my putts today were somewhere between 15 to 40, 50 feet. So I didn't really hit anything really close where you think, well, that's a 50-50 chance that you're going to hold that putt. So the majority of my putts today were, an average of 2 putts or even a little bit above. So although I 2-putted every green, on average, I would probably 20% of the time there'd be 1 3-putt in there. That was the thing that could happen in that situation. So as a rule, my putting today was really good. So I was happy with that because of where I was putting from. And I think that's a big thing to look at. Look at where you're playing the shots from, because that's going to determine how good you're really playing. Don't look at how many putts you have. If you're putting from, like me today, 40 feet most of the time, and you 2-putt every green, you're having a great day. If you're 10 feet away and you're 2-putting, then that's not such a good day. So overall, those 6 holes I played pretty solidly. As I said, probably hit one poor shot, that tee shot on the third, but a pretty solid round of golf. And I can take that data. There was nothing amazing, there was nothing terrible, but I can take that with a bit of confidence into my next round, and that's what I'm looking for. So that's how we can use that sort of to analyze it as we go along. So the final bit, just to finish off our game that we've played today, is just to sort of cool down. We're just going to go back to that massage gun again, and we're going to have a look at how we can use that to just relax those muscles. Because again, you've been out there, I've only played 6 holes, but if you've played 18 holes, you've put your body through quite a lot over that 4 hours or so you've been on the golf course. So anything that you can do, as you said, you've got it in the car, you can just use it, makes a massive difference. But we're going to use a slightly different attachment that will help those muscles, which again, when you watch sport on TV, you hear a lot about them doing this when they finish a game of golf or finish a tournament or whatever they're playing. So the final part of our video is just what I call recovery. And the great thing with the gun, what it has is an attachment that you can either apply heat or cold to the muscles. Now you think about it, when you watch probably most sports, probably not so much golf, but you watch, say, a tennis player, you hear a lot of the time they go and even sit in an ice bath, okay? And it's to help the muscles recover, okay? Because we look at golf as not really that much of an athletic sport, we don't think we need to do that. But actually in golf, you're using a tremendous amount of muscles. And if you're like me, where you've got a couple of areas that are a little bit suspect, they need a little bit of help, what you've done is you're going out there, the blood is flowing around your body, and what you now need to do is just cool yourself down a little bit. You see it after football matches. Players will go out and they'll do a light run just to sort of slow everything down. So this attachment, as I said, on the front there, it's already going very cold because I just turned it on beforehand. And again, I just put this on a very light massage. I don't go as much. So I just put it on 1, to be honest with this, because I just want the coldness. And on this, I will make sure I put it onto that skin. And my left shoulder is my bad shoulder. So this has made a massive difference, because what it does then, I don't feel like when I get home, it feels quite so bad. I get it on that muscle, and it just starts to cool it down a little bit, okay? And as I said, it has 2 parts to it. I'll do it on both shoulders. As I said, I'm not going to go through that completely, but it also has the ability to add heat. So you could use that even at the start of the game to encourage those muscles to get working beforehand. So it's a great tool. It allows you to do a lot of things. As I said, within that package, you have 4 or 5 attachments, which you may find sits on your shoulder or sits in the lower part of your back, the muscles you want to work, and it works them a little bit better. It's sort of getting rid of those knots. But for me, as somebody now into my 50s, and I've got a lot of guys who I teach are 60, 70 years of age, anything that you get up in the morning and think, oh, I feel so much better than I did last week because I've had a go with this gun, the massaging has helped, it's only going to be a good thing. I mean, some of you guys are playing 3-4 times a week. Anything that can help you to get up the next day and go and play and enjoy your golf more is going to be great. And these, I mean, this particular one I think costs around about 60, 70 pounds. And you've got that code, you can get a small reduction on that if you want to buy it. There are bigger versions, but to be honest, this does everything you need it to do. And it's a pocket one. As I said, you can stick it in the car to use after you've played. As it suggests, you can physically put it in your pocket. So let's do a little recap what we've done today. So we've covered a lot today. Okay, we've gone through number one, prepare yourself, whether that's using the massage gun or practicing a little bit of loosening up with the exercises. Get yourself ready when you walk onto that tee. Okay, if you do it correctly, probably might take you, if you've got the time, 20 minutes to half an hour to do it. But again, if you're using the massage gun, you can do a little bit of that at home before. But do a little bit of practice, get the muscles ready for you to go out and play. We then played the 6 holes and we shot level par today for those 6 holes. But relative to my data, I've gained 0.7 of a shot. Okay, so it was a little bit better than average. So that was a nice day out there. And we showed you through the different areas where I gained and lost shots. So if there's a pattern, you might think I need to go and spend a little bit more time on that area. But today, none of them were too bad. So that was good. And that's why we had a good day. Okay, and then we're talking about recovery. Use the massage gun again. Use the ability to put cold on yourself to cool that down. So straight away, those muscles are going to recover a lot quicker for your next round of golf. I know it was a slightly different lesson today, okay? But I want to get the whole package and make you a better golfer throughout and give you the best opportunity you can do it. And that's why I'm the resourceful coach. We're giving you more resources to allow you to play. Get the right equipment, get the right mind, know your level, and be able to play on the golf course. They're my 4 key resources. I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. If you have, please share this with your friends. If you've not already subscribed, please subscribe. Press that little bell, so you get that notification when the next video goes out. And my videos go out every Tuesday, Friday. I look forward to seeing you soon.